Yes, I'm waiting.
Okay, everyone. Hello, everyone. Before we start, can you please unmute your microphone and let's going to share out together.
Hello, Vulnerable
Hello, whenever.
Spirit.
Okay. So let's start with meditation. We can sit in a comfortable meditation posture with the back erect, side cast down. Ideally, please arrange your cameras so that I can see your legs, hands, and face, and make sure that your sitting is healthy. You can erect the back, cast the side down, and make the first determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. And with that determination, we can gently, lovingly notice the flat piece of flesh at the top of the head. We allow it to be heavy and changing. We continue in this manner to the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the head to be heavy. We continue to the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the upper part of the body to be heavy. We continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the body to be heavy and changing. Now let's look at other parts of the body and consider their impermanence and unreliability. Skin, bones, kidneys, heart, liver, spleen, lungs, intestines, brain, phlegm, blood, sweat, fat, urine. We allow all of the body parts to be impermanent and unreliable. Now let's look at the mind and see if there are any thoughts. If you notice any thought, do not try to push it away. Instead, be curious about its cause. What causes this thought to be there now? And we want to know the present cause. Now, what causes it? It may be attachment, expectations, worries, views, or anything else. We seek, we are curious, we want to know. If you don't see any thought, then observe the attitude. You observe your attitude to the fact that you do not see any thought. The more we can accept impermanence and unreliability in the body and the mind, the deeper peace we can achieve. Let's look at the peace we already have now and learn what is peace, observing our experience. Where is peace? How much of peace do I have now? What does this peace actually do? have developed peace, we can share it with others. Let's start in our room, without expectations, without forcing. We just allow, we permit all of the beings in our room to enjoy at least as much peace as we are enjoying now. So in our minds, voicelessly, we can recite this sentence again and again. May all beings in this room be in peace. May all beings in this room be in peace. And we gradually expand our thoughts of loving kindness. May all beings in this building be in peace. May all beings in this city or village be in peace. May all beings in this country be in peace. May all beings on this continent be in peace. May all beings on this planet be in peace. May all beings, including me, be in peace. Now, because the time for this sitting is finished, we will make the last determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. And with that determination, we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. But we still do not approach our gadgets if you are far from them. Let's sit in a different posture, in your secondary posture, and let's stay there for a minute without any movement as we enjoy the peace we gain in meditation and curiously watch what is our mind doing during that. So let's look at our chanting. So please everyone unmute yourself, and you can keep your hands together at the chest as a symbol of that you're genuine, that you're honestly taking the refuges and 5 precepts. Yamahang vadami tang vadeta. Aham bhante tisaraṇa saha pañcasīlaṃ dhammam yācāmi. Anuggaham katvā sīlaṃ deta me bhante anukampaṃ upādāya. Dutiyampi aham bhante tisaraṇa saha pañcasīlaṃ dhammam yācāmi. Anuggaham katvā sīlaṃ deta me bhante anukampang upadaya tatiyampi aham bhante tisaranena saha pañcasīlaṃ dhammam yācāmi. Anuggaham katvā sīlaṃ deta me bhante anukampang upadaya. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranang gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. So these are three refuges. You take the three refuges to remind yourself that the real safety, the real certainty is in the Buddha, in Dhamma, which is the Buddha's teachings, and in Sangha, which is the community of monks. And they are the ultimate leaders to your happiness in this life and in the next life as well. So now I will approve that going for refuges is complete, and you can reply Ama Bhante, which means yes, Venerable Sir. So let's do that together. Sarana Gamanang Paripunnang. So now comes the first advice, the first guidance coming from the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and that is following the 5 precepts. The first precept means I follow the precept of refraining from killing living beings. Panati pata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. The second precept means I follow the precept of refraining from taking what is not given. That means we never steal. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. The third precept means I follow the rule of refraining from sexual misconduct. That means we never cheat on our wife or husband if we have one. Kame sumichhāchāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
The fourth precept means I follow the precept of refraining from false speech. It means we never tell lies. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. The last precept means I follow the precept of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Sura meraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. So now I will encourage you all to protect these three refuges and to follow these 5 precepts excellently and be mindful. Why do you need to be mindful? Well, to notice that you are going to break the 5 precepts before you break them, so that you never ever break them. And then you can agree by saying, yes, Venerable Sir, ama bhanti. Tisaraṇena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammāṃ sādhukāṃ surakkhitāṃ katvā appamadena sampadetha. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana. Yes, very well. So it seems like today we've done it pretty well on time. So ideally, if we can start directly at 5:30, then that would be wonderful, but 5 minutes late is also not so bad at all. So now let's move on to the book, and then we will discuss something seriously about Dhamma. But I want to know your notes from the book. Today we are looking at notes from the 2nd chapter. So is there anyone who does not have notes from the 2nd chapter? Okay, so I'll ask the other way. Is there who has notes from the 2nd chapter? Please raise your Zoom hand. If you know how to raise your Zoom hand, please do that. Okay. Okay, Andre, are you here with us? All right. So thank you, everyone. Please, you can remove your Zoom hand again. So I will ask. Aumau, can you please read for us? Please read just one sentence, even if you wrote one longer thing, which is just one thing. Please do not read it whole, just read the first sentence, because we are many and we want to do some other thing as
well. Gray matter in the brain stores most of the primary brain cells.
Okay, thank you very much. Caitlin? I cannot hear you well. Can you please come closer to the microphone?
The brain is a three-dimensional structure that has connections between brain areas and helps mentally map connections by presenting a combination of neurological properties.
I'm still struggling to hear you. Can you please come even closer and read the second part of the note? It's not perfect, so please speak also a little bit more out loud.
Okay, I wrote that the second half was mentally maps connections by presenting a combination of neurological problems.
Okay, thank you very much. Kema.
brain plasticity means that in the growing years of our lives, experiences change the connections in our brain.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Melanie?
Oh, I didn't do quotients, I took notes.
That's okay.
Hippocampus comes from the Latin word horse because of its shape.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Sandy?
Repetition is important when it comes to teens, as their prospective memory development does not keep up with the teens' growth.
Perfect, thank you very much. Tiha? I cannot hear you, Tiha. Okay, yes.
Sorry, I was just trying to read. The size of the brain has virtually no influence on intelligence, as humans have relatively small ratios of brain to body mass compared to many other mammals.
Very well, thank you. Marinda?
Perspective memory is the ability to hold in your mind the intention to perform a certain action at a future time.
Mm-hmm. Can you please repeat what kind of memory is that?
Perspective memory.
Prospective? Well, don't remember that. Yes, I see it in my notes. It is there. So, thank you very much. Andrea, are you here with us? Andrea doesn't respond, so I'll read for you my note. I have here 3. I have a lot of notes actually from the second, maybe like relatively a lot, but I have 3 highlighted, and I will read for you the one that I think is really most relevant. What is going on? Somebody is sharing. Melanie is sharing her whiteboard.
Venerable sir, I accidentally opened a whiteboard because I thought it was private. I don't know how to close it.
Yes, so you can search. There should be a button on whiteboard, and that will probably close it if you just click it again. There should be a little picture of a square. Search an empty square, a little picture of an empty square. Empty white square. What is the device you use, Melanie?
Can I leave and rejoin to fix it?
What is the device that you use, Melanie?
I use Microsoft.
You use Windows. Well, then that's the same thing as I'm using. If you move your mouse to the bottom of the screen, then there should be things like participants, chat, share screen. Do you see that thing?
Is it this one? Can you see my screen?
I can't. So do you see there these buttons? Participants, chat, share screen, record, reactions. Do you see that?
Yes.
And if you continue, there should be apps and then whiteboards.
Yes, I see.
Okay, if you click on it, what happens?
It opens new whiteboard plus untitled.
So this is interesting. I want to research that also. Please wait for me. I see. We all actually can use the whiteboard. Yes, that's right. Anyone knows? If anyone knows, please tell us. I also would like to know that.
Would that work if she clicked the share screen again? Would that a toggle?
I don't think she clicked share screen. I think she clicked whiteboard.
I've seen as you are doing Melanian screen scene here.
I have a technical issue. No. Do it there.
Seems like either people don't know it online or something's really weird, because I cannot find the solution for that.
Venerable sir, I have a possible solution where I could leave and then rejoin to cancel the whiteboard.
I know. Someone has resolved it already. You have actually switched to, someone has switched to share screen, right? And now you can just stop sharing the screen. That's also a solution, but I find it.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes, I find it particularly poor that that I cannot find the way how to turn off whiteboard, as if the only problem was to disable the whiteboard, but people do not have English word for turning off whiteboard. Okay, anyway, I will have to play with that later. So, Melanie, can you, did you already read for us your note? You did, right? Now I'm reading for you my note, and that is: of the nearly 6,000 adolescents who die every year in automobile accidents, 87% die because of distracted driving. So, distracted driving is very important problem, and we need to get rid of that. So when you, if you happen to have a car, if you happen to drive, then be careful, because if you're not careful, if you're distracted, then you have pretty high chance that you will not survive. So that is somewhere at the end, by the end of the chapter. For the next time, please read chapter 3, Under the Microscope. That will be even more difficult. She will explain, the neuroscientist will explain how the brain works. Then we start to learn seriously about the practical things, starting at the chapter 4. But chapter 2, 1 are more about the brain, so that you know what is this book about, and understand the jargon that you will be using. And it's good to write in your notes, to note in your notes also the words that are difficult for you to understand, so that anytime you can find them out. So you will be using more and more difficult words. So I will show you how I do that. So this is my note from the Teenage Brain, And first I have the book name, the author, then here I have the proper citation if I want to cite it in a paper. And then whenever I find a word that I don't know, that I have to find in the dictionary, I will type it with a little star and space at the beginning of my note document. So as you can see, I have here several notes. She loves neuroscientists and other scientists. They love abbreviations, so you will see them again and again and again. Here are some of the abbreviations that she uses. There are many more which I have mentioned actually in the text here. So it is good to write the chapter number, then page number, and then the quote that you write, that you want, that you like, or in your own words. But it's good to have it separated. So when I write when I write notes in my own words, then I will use slash as a bracket. So when there is something written in a lengthy way, then I don't want to copy and paste it all, but instead I write it in my own words in a brief way inside these slash brackets. Or if I have my own thought that I want to add to the notes, then I write it in slash brackets, but I add a star after the first slash bracket. So then I know, oh, this is my idea. And then I use Evernote. I think I already told you about that. So if you use Evernote, it is very easy to keep your notes. Evernote is also free if you use it up to 2 devices. And then I have, a note like that. And here are my notes. You can also add pictures from the book. How do I do that? I will show you. If I take the book, I read it in this software. It's called PDF Exchange Editor, but you can use anything else for that. If you use Microsoft Windows and you see a picture, for example here I see a picture, then in Windows I use Win-Shift-S, and with Win-Shift-S I can then just select whatever part I want that's on the screen, and it just becomes a screenshot. And then inside my note I can click anywhere I want, and there I just press Ctrl V to view it, and it will appear. Well, no, it doesn't. Yes, it does. It appears. So then it will appear. So you can see this is the picture that I screenshot in the document. You do not have to use PDFX Viewer or Editor. Now it's called Editor. Previously it was called Viewer. And you can use anything else, and you can screenshot in Microsoft Windows. So for example, if I want to screenshot anything inside the browser, let's say I want to screenshot whatever, anything like this. To screenshot that, I press Win-Shift-S, and then I can go to Evernote, and there I can press Ctrl V, and I have it there. It's very fast, very fast. Alright, so I suggest you that you always remember to write the words that you don't know in the beginning, so you easily search them, and to make sure you have the page number mentioned at the beginning of your note. We do not read the page numbers when we read our notes to each other here, but please have it there so that later if someone argues with you, you do not have to spend any time to show them a proof that they are wrong. Alright, so this is related to the book. I'm happy we've done it, and we still have about 9 minutes. So I think we are doing excellently well. Please raise your Zoom hand who has noticed the Jataka story in our Facebook drawing group. Not many people. I have shared a story from the Buddha's previous life in our Facebook drawing group. Do you remember that I mentioned it last week? Some remember. I shared the link to the story in our Viber group, right? I certainly did. I shared the link to the group, but not to the drawing, I see. Okay, so there indeed is a new story already from, I think, from Sunday or Monday. And I would like to go with you through the story so that you know what to draw. At this moment, we have there 2 drawings. So I was wondering, why are there just 2 drawings? So now I understand. It's because you don't know there is a story. So we will go through the story in brief so that you can read it, and hopefully, if you like, you can also draw some drawing. Tushon Lee is joining us. Hello, Tushon Lee. Tushon Lee, will you greet me?
Hello.
When you greet a monk, it is proper to put your hands together like this and say, "Hello, venerable sir." So can you do that?
Hello, venerable sir.
Nice, thank you very much. So that's it's fair, you know, when I greet someone, I expect them to greet me. And so please, everyone here, remember that. I saw in the beginning when we started the class, not everyone was as successful. So now I will be sharing with you the group for drawing. I would very much appreciate if everyone here reads the Jataka story, but it is difficult. It is extremely difficult to read this. It may be difficult for your age, then what to speak about the 6 to 10-year-olds who are also supposed to read this story. So you're still pretty well off because you know more vocabulary, you understand English better because of your life experience, and so I would very much appreciate if you read the story. So I will keep the story over here, still available for drawing, and I think we will do it the other way. First I will publish the story, then I will explain you the story, and then I will wait for your drawings. So you have 1 week to draw. It's been there for 1 week, but we are developing the system. So this is the story called Apannaka Jātaka, which the translator here translates as the story about what is unquestionable. But actually Apannaka means perfect. It doesn't necessarily mean unquestionable. So what's going on? The stories in Jatakas, they have 2 parts: the introduction and the story. The introduction is coming from the Buddha's time. The story is coming from a life before the Buddha's last life. So the introduction story is coming from the time when the Buddha was the Buddha. And the story itself is coming from the Buddha's previous life. So this is maybe the reason why some people found it difficult, because they didn't know how to understand this introduction in connection to the story. But now you already know it. So in the introduction, I explain, or the story or the book explains, that the rich man, Mr. Anathapindika, he visited the Buddha with his 500 friends who followed other religions. The Buddha taught them the Buddha's teachings. They became followers of the Buddha. But when the Buddha left, they again returned to their previous religion. They were not Buddhists anymore. The Buddha visited the village again, taught them the Buddha's teachings again, and they again became followers of the Buddha. And at the moment the Buddha left, they returned to their religions. For the third time, the Buddha came to that village. And again, the Buddha taught them the Dhamma. But at that moment, either the third time or the fourth time, he explained to them that he taught them the Buddha's teachings. They again became the Buddha's followers. And the Buddha then explained to them that this is not the first time when they follow the wrong leader. In other words, this is not the first time when they decided to follow non-Buddhist religion, other religion. But that's not exactly the problem. The problem is that because they followed a different leader and not the Buddha to be in his previous life, they were all destroyed. They went through destruction. And in the same way now, if they do not follow the Buddha's teachings, they also may undergo destruction. Because if they follow teachers who tell them, well, you can drink alcohol, well, you can sometimes kill, then they will drink alcohol, they will sometimes kill, as we learn in some religions, and that is for their destruction. What is that? That is for birth in hell. But in their previous life, they were destroyed already during that previous life. That means they were killed because they followed a wrong leader. So that is the story that you will read about. After the Buddha teaches them this story, they all become enlightened. They all achieve the first level of enlightenment. And therefore, according to the Buddha, if someone becomes at least at the first level of enlightenment, they will never follow any other teacher because they have experienced the Buddha's teachings. It's not just about belief, it's about one's own personal experience. So the story goes that there were two leaders, two merchant leaders who had to go on a travel, and they had to lead their following. And they had their merchandise, the things that they wanted to sell far, far away. That's how people lived in the Buddha's time. In the Buddha's time, people would buy some goods in one country, then they would travel far, far, far away, and then there they would sell that goods for much higher price. So this is how the people lived, and that's perfectly okay, because those goods are rare. So of course, in the far, far away country, they value them more than the things that are grown or made in that country alone. So there were two leaders like that. And the Bodhisattva, which means the Buddha to be, and I apparently did I explain here? Yes, I did. Bodhisattva, Buddha to be. Sometimes you will find an explanation in the square brackets. That's given by me. This summary of 5 pages introduction into 1 paragraph introduction is also prepared by me, but it seems it's still not enough for people to find it easy to read. Okay. Then one leader came with his 500 carts and many followers. He went first. That was the foolish leader, the uneducated fool leader. He went, and on the way they met ogres. Do you know ogres? If you have ever seen Shrek, then you know who's an ogre. But Shrek is beautiful. Ogre is ugly. So that's one big difference. Ogre is usually fluffy. Totally fluffy body and huge body, fluffy body with large teeth coming out, and eats humans. Consumes humans, which Shrek doesn't, as you could see. So Shrek doesn't consume humans, ogres do. But Just like Shrek, ogres live in the forest. That's maybe the only thing that's similar between ogres and Shrek. Now, ogres can change their appearance. Shrek changed his appearance after drinking a special potion, but actually ogres can change their appearance if they want anytime without any potion. And ogres love to eat human flesh, but they don't want to fight with humans so that they would eat them. Instead, they use tricks. And one of the trick here was that as they were traveling, this fool leader, this foolish merchant, he met on the way ogres, but they had to travel through a wilderness where and this was the drought wilderness where there was no water. So the idea of the ogres was that they will persuade this foolish merchant to throw away their water store that they had with them. They had to drag with them water through the drought wilderness. And then when they throw away their water, they will be tired and they will sleep. And as they sleep, the ogres will consume them, devour them. And that's what happened. Then after this happened, then our Buddha-to-be, Bodhisattva, left with his followers, and they recognized ogres as ogres. They were not deceived. They did not throw away the water, and they went through and they were successful. And that's all the story. This is a picture of an ogre. And I suppose it's pretty old. But again, look at this ogre. It's cute. That's not exactly how ogres look like. Ogres are scary. Also, look at that. He's not fluffy. Ogres are very, very thickly fluffy. They have thickly fluffy body hair. So much thick, fluffy body hair that if you were to stab them by a knife or give them a punch into their body, then your knife will just get stuck in that fluffy, sticky, fluffy hair. That's all. There's no way how you can actually injure them because their fluffy hair, on this giant ogre is sticky and fluffy so much that you will just get stuck in it, and that's all. All right, so now what's the task? Well, we see here already two people drawing for us some drawings, and I would like to invite you to also draw some drawings so that we do not end up with two drawings only. And I think that would be interesting to see how you understood the story. How do you feel about that? And maybe we all can learn something more from your point of view. And it also will help me to check whether you understood it correctly. So that if I see that your drawing is misunderstood, then I can tell you, well, actually, this is the intended meaning of the author. All right. So now I hope that everyone is understood, everyone is clear, and now everyone indeed saw the story. So I'm sending you the link to the story itself so that you can read it in full, and hopefully share with us some of your drawings. Does anyone have any question about this? It is not compulsory, but if you make some drawings, I will be very happy. Yes, Melanie?
What is, Venerable Sir, may I please ask for the name of the link of the Facebook group, please?
Yes. The name of the Facebook group, now I'm sending you the link, but the name of the Facebook group is Buddhism Drawing for Kids.
Thank you, Venerable Sir.
It is called Buddhism Drawing for Kids, but also Ma'am Yaki and Ma'am Meji are most welcome to make their own drawings and also share them with us. So it is for kids because it's the idea is made with kids, but anyone of any age can share there with us their drawing, and we will be all very much happy for that. Does anyone have any question about the story or about the drawing or about the plan with this group? Yes, Miyaki?
I'm just interested in your description of Olga Shivya.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
didn't know about the fluffy part. I know that they can change and you don't see the shadow, and they're in many stories. But
Yes.
I didn't know about the hair.
Yes, it comes from the Apannaka Jātaka. In Apannaka Jātaka, which is the Buddha's previous life, where he had 5 weapons, there the Buddha he is a very strong, very powerful warrior. And he goes into the forest for some reason I don't remember. And he meets an ogre. This is a very important Jataka because it's yet another Jataka that shows us that the Buddha in the previous lives actually told lies, which the commentaries sometimes forget, and they say the Buddha in his previous lives, he killed, he stole, he committed sexual misconduct, he took alcohol, he drank alcohol, but he would never tell lies. No, sorry, commentaries are wrong. So there are 2 Jatakas which show that the Buddha also told lies. And then he suffered for that. In this case, however, it's a little bit complicated because it is explained as a metaphor, but I'm not sure. Okay, so what happened? The Buddha is in the forest, and now an ogre comes and he wants to devour the Buddha. And the Buddha says, I am not afraid of you. I will fight with you. So he takes his sword and he tries to kill the ogre. But his sword gets stuck in the fluffy body hair. Then he has no sword because his sword is stuck in the body hair. So he's there without a weapon. What are exactly the 5 weapons? Yes, I think he's shooting arrows. Then he loses his arrows in the body hair. Then he goes with his sword. He loses his sword in the body hair of the ogre. And then he goes with his fists and with his legs, thinking, I will punch the ogre and kick the ogre. But with each punch, one punch, his hand is stuck in the hair. Another punch, his hand is stuck in the hair, in the body hair, Then one kick, his leg is stuck in the body hair. Another kick, his leg is stuck in the body hair. Try to imagine as if you were the ogre, the huge giant, who's looking on this young man who's trying to kill you, but he's actually getting stuck in your body hair. To me, it looks very lovely, like, oh, you're so cute. You tried to kill me, but you're stuck in my body hair. And then when the Buddha is stuck like this in the body hair of the ogre, he says, I am not afraid of you. You can eat me, but if you eat me, the sword in my heart will kill you. And then the commentaries, they say that this was a metaphor, that this was the wisdom in the Buddha's heart, in the Buddha to be's heart, not the Buddha. But he didn't say it, and definitely the ogre couldn't understand him. And the ogre thought, oh, this is such a brave man. This is such a brave man. And he was appreciative of the braveness, or of the, how would you call that? Courageousness, bravery. Yes, braveness is also right. Bravery, braveness, courageousness. Valiance is, how do you call it? Valiancy or valiancy? valiancy. Okay, so valiancy or bravery or courageousness. The ogre was so happy about the courageousness of the Buddha to be, and also a little bit afraid that this knife in his heart will harm him, that the ogre let him go. So that's yes, I think so. And now, usually the Buddha to be teaches, the ogres and dragons and gods and like this, and kings, but I don't remember that the Buddha to be in this story particularly would be teaching the ogre, because what to teach him? He wanted to kill him, right? So what kind of Dhamma are you going to teach if you wanted to kill in the beginning? Anyway, this is why I say that ogres are fluffy.
Yes, Shimpia, I know that particular story too. But a lot of ogre in pagoda and everywhere, you don't see hair. They're very much human-like, but much scary looking, like in like some of the pagoda in like Magway. They even hide there's like an ogre at the entrance of the pagoda in like sword or something scary, human looking, but they are normally in green and you can see their teeth coming out and all. But I rarely ever see with hair representation in many places. So,
I think that there are two kinds of ogres, because if we look at the legends of the Czech Republic, and I recently started to look into the legends of the Czech Republic to compare our mythical creatures with the Buddhist mythical creatures, we will see that in our mythical creatures we have two kinds of ogres. We have devils and giants. And our devils, which seem to be inspired by Christianity, but no, actually they are not described by the Bible at all. Or maybe they are, but even if they are described anyway, it would be based on some kind of experience with some kind of beings. So devils are always fluffy. Devils are always fluffy. And they also have big teeth. And they are also very dangerous, and they also have huge, wonderful psychic powers. They don't have to be visible, but they can affect your mind. And they can also take human appearance. That's devils. And there's although of course scientists cannot examine devils because they're not visible, and they are supernatural creatures, they are part of the culture. We do not everyone knows about devils, although not everyone believes that they exist. And then we have giants. Also, we believe in giants. That's a totally different category of beings from devils. And giants are not portrayed as fluffy, whereas devils are. And giants are really huge, and they also can eat. They also can consume humans. I've never heard of devils consuming humans, although it is believed that if someone follows a devil, follows his advice, then they will be born in hell. Hard to tell how that works, but we do have, you see, two kinds of ogres, whereas our Buddhist scriptures don't. Or at least I'm not aware of a distinction. Like, we know of 4 kinds of dragons, but I do not remember ever reading of kinds of devils. Maybe they are ogres, but maybe there are. I've never come across that. So it is possible that the kind of ogre that the Bodhisattva met in his Panchabuddha previous birth was actually the one we would call as devil. And many others that are spoken of in our scriptures would be those that we would call giants. But they are all called ogres because they come to the same category of lifespan, of pleasure, and of suffering, that they have to eat, they have to consume, devour human flesh, and that causes them problem, Although the commentary, the explanation for Alavaka, for the Yakka Alavaka, the ogre Alavaka. There actually we learned that Alavaka, when he was devouring human flesh, at the moment when he would start to devour human flesh, it would actually change into a delicious meal in the consistency of butter by the power of his good karma. So he didn't have to, bite through the bones, and he didn't have to experience the feces and urine inside the body. So that's what the Alavaka story goes. That when he received every day, he received a human for meal, and he enjoyed it very much because at the moment he would touch it for eating, it would actually change into delicious meal in the consistency of butter. So ogres are same in this fact that they devour humans, but apparently they have different habits, other habits, and human appearance. I like to read about these stories, about old stories and fairy tales, especially to compare, the Western culture and your culture. The American culture is just copy or just an heir to the culture of Europe. So whatever is the culture in the US in terms of these fairy tales and so on, it will be maybe 90%, 95% the same as is the British culture, and the British culture is maybe 80, 70% the same as is the Czech culture. Yes, Melanie?
Do ogres exist now as supernatural?
We believe they do, but I don't know anyone who would see them as in their in their physical form. In Sri Lanka, ogres are a very important problem. They're believed to possess a house and totally take power over the house and cause a lot of problems, like real problems, like real destruction, real troubles in the house. And they have special wizards, special sorcerers in Sri Lanka who come then to these houses, and they, like you have heard in Harry Potter probably, or in many computer games, but they are all based on these ancient stories, so be careful about that. So they actually, these sorcerers, these wizards of Sri Lanka, they will take this ogre being and somehow they will keep him in a jar. They will close the jar and there you have an ogre. So but right from that moment, all of the problems stop forever. So something is happening. Something is happening. I've never heard of this problem in Myanmar, but I have heard of it in Sri Lanka. A family of my donors actually had exactly that problem. They invited me to come and chant in their house, but I said, well, we need to chant early in the morning at 4 a.m. And they didn't come because it's insanely too early. So I didn't help them. But I'm not a wizard. I'm not a sorcerer. So anyway, it would have been better for them to find a real wizard or sorcerer to take care of an ogre. Monks do have chanting, and that's what I plan. I plan to do loving kindness meditation with them. Maybe later we would do some chanting. Hard to tell, but I don't know whether to what extent the monastic chanting is useful, because I've never made use of it. Although the Buddha specifically taught us a chanting so that ogres leave from the house. So we have specific chanting for that. It is called Atannatiya Sutta. So I believe that ogres are there, but I don't know anyone who would have seen an ogre in his physical form. Always people see them in their non-invisible form. Okay, Melanie? Yes. And I haven't started to talk about dragons. And I believe that there are dragons. So you're better off believing in ogres and letting me be. Otherwise, I'll start to explain to you about dragons and heavenly birds. Garuda. We don't have heavenly birds in the Czech mythology. Zero. I've never heard of that, which is very interesting. You have heavenly birds in the Burmese and in the Buddhist mythology, but I have a now wonderful collection of books with fairy tales and pictures and legendary beings, the best cherry of Czech beasts and scary beings and ghosts and dragons and fiery dogs, fiery horses, and good ghosts and these fairies. We have a lot of stories about fairies, various kinds of, we have 4 kinds of fairies in the Czech Republic. So these are very interesting things. But one thing that I really don't find in the Czech mythology, which I do find in the Buddhist mythology, are heavenly birds. So that is a little bit intriguing to me. But almost anything, I think everything else that we find in the Buddhist legends, we also find in the Czech legends. And you'll find the stories exactly describing how they look like. You know, isn't that interesting that the Buddhist dragons, they spit fire, and Czech dragons also spit fire? Isn't that interesting that Buddhist dragons can fly and Czech dragons also can fly? Isn't it interesting that what was that? Something else. You know, there are interesting similarities between the dragons of the different cultures. So where did this belief come from? Why do the people still believe in them? Wouldn't it be possible that really there were some dragons? In the Czech Republic, we have cities. We have not cities, villages, were built upon a dragon's place. They're called according to dragons. We have even whole castles built by a dragon, and the dragon lived there. We have whole stories about dragons, whole history of dragons. So, dragons, maybe it's real. And in Sri Lanka, you can have ogres and you can have dragons to bring you relics, the Buddha's relics. So I know personally a man who has his shrine, and he was reciting the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which in Burmese you call Dhammasacato, and he was reciting these teachings of the Buddha in front of a little golden shrine. You know, they have these beautiful tiny little pagodas like Feyazadido, and they can like open them, and there you will find relics, and sometimes they keep their relics in that. And this man, he did not keep any relic in there. He closed it up and he was chanting like that, Dhammasacato, every day. And after some time, after about a week or two, miraculously a relic appeared in his shrine, in his little relic casket. And he believes that it was, I think he believes that ogres brought it for him. He said, you can ask dragons for it, you can ask ogres for it. If you ask dragons, they will bring it for you. But they will expect that you will continue chanting. And if you do not continue chanting every day, then they will punish you. So he suggested we do not ask dragons for help, we ask ogres for help. Or deities, even better. Alright. So these are stories for adults, not for kids. But sounds like stories for kids, right? May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.
Thank you everyone, and wonderful soul. People only believe, and let's greet to stay out of here. Thank you very much, goodbye.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. Goodbye, Venerable Sir.
Thank you.